Welcome to Earth Science. Time for the Mineral Lab, which we want to understand what these minerals are because the minerals are the building blocks of rocks. If you've got a rock like this, it's composed of more than one mineral. So getting these down is how we're going to kind of wrap up all the rock unit, I suppose. If you saw yesterday's stuff, remember we're using page 16 of the reference tables here, and that we're going to break it down by these things. How it reflects light, its resistance to scratching is the hardness, whether it has cleavage or fracture, and then we can start getting into some of the other things, but those will be the big three to get you started. Cleavage and fracture probably being the hardest of it, so what I'm going to do for the first two is give you one example of each and tell you what the answer is with cleavage or fracture, so that then the other ones will be more up to you. So this is going to be mineral number one. And this is definitely an example of cleavage. It breaks along the same plane. There's multiple parallel faces. And it breaks along the same plane each time. It's got that really defined shape. So you're going to be on this cleavage side. For luster, I'd say non-metallic. I don't see any shine like metal. And I'll give you another hint that if I had hydrochloric acid and I put this on there, it would bubble. So that should get you there. It's just a tiny bit harder than my fingernail. I cannot really get in there. Remember, a fingernail is 2.5. All right, example number two, which again I'll try to make easy. This is a good example of fracture. There's not parallel faces. When this mineral breaks, it just kind of breaks randomly. All right, for luster, it's got that bit of a sparkle to it. That is going to be metallic, and here's a hint on this one. It's magnetic. And that really should be enough to get you there. Metallic, it has fracture, and it's magnetic. So that is mineral number two. All right, now I'm going to start leaving them a little bit more to you. This is kind of yellow in color. My light's not great. But what do you think? Metallic, non-metallic? What do you think? Cleavage or fracture? And I'll tell you that this is soft enough that I can get into it with my fingernail pretty easily. That'll be mineral number three. Mineral number four. Very cubic. What does that tell you? Cleavage or fracture? Yes, it shines, but that's not metallic. Shiny doesn't necessarily mean metallic. Metallic literally looks like metal. I'll give you a hint on this one too. I won't look it on camera, but it tastes salty. That'll let you know what it is. And that is mineral number four. Number five. Do it by the light a little bit more over here, but looks like gold. It's not. This is one where a streak plate would really be helpful. Sorry, I don't have that. But if you did it on that streak plate, it's kind of a darkish, greenish black. But that should be enough to get you there on that one. And that is mineral number five. Six. Yes, it shines. No, it's not metallic. Very flat planes there. And also, you should be able to hear this one. Really soft. I can get into it with my fingernail, no problem. That means it's less than 2.5. That should be enough to get you there on that one. Mineral number six. 7. Still non-metallic. This one, I'll tell you, it does have cleavage. It doesn't show up great on this sample. You can kind of see that flat plane as the light shines right there. Not a great piece. But this is pretty hard stuff. Probably not supposed to do this, but I can scratch glass. Yep, dug in, made a little scratch right there. So we're greater than 5.5, non-metallic, with cleavage. Kind of a pinkish color might be the final bit you need on that. And that is mineral number 7. 8. This is for you 9th period folks. Your class name. This mineral has a greasy feel. It feels kind of slick in my hands. Cleavage planes right along there. Incredibly soft. I could dig right through this with my fingernail, no problem. Very, very, very soft mineral. So look for a low number in hardness, non-metallic cleavage, greasy feel. That one's going to be a gimme. That's mineral number 8. Nine. This one is always a bit confusing for people learning cleavage and fracture. I see lots of flat planes, but they're not parallel. This is one where the crystals form out of a hot mineral liquid. They form hydrothermally, and they can form like that, but then if you go and smack it, and you can kind of see that it's broken here, it just breaks randomly. So this one is fracture. Certainly not metallic. I mean, you can see it's pretty much clear. Pretty hard. Let's see if it scratches glass. Yep, for sure. This is from, they call it the Herkimer Diamond Mine. Not really diamonds if you ever go down there. Number 9. Number 10. What do you think? Let's get it by the light. Metallic? Non-metallic? What do you think? Does have cleavage. Again, maybe not great on a phone camera, but there you go. You see that angle right there? A lot of right angles, flat faces all parallel to each other. Good example of cleavage. This one's reasonably soft. I can just barely get it with my nail, so it's maybe right about the same as my fingernail. Mineral number 10. There's this one too. All right, this one you really need the streak plate. If I had a streak plate, guess what kind of streak it would have? A red-brown streak. So the answer is... you gotta find it. That's mineral number 11. And number 12, final one. And then we're done for another week. Is this strange one? This is a form of cleavage. Cleavage in thin sheets. They're known as the sheet silicates. There's a couple of different kinds of them. But you can see it kind of flexes. Flexible in thin sheets. I used to use this for windows, actually, in Moscow, where there's a lot of this stuff. So if you know any Russian, that might just be the reason why it's that. So strong form of cleavage. Shiny, yes, but not metallic. And I pretty much showed you the answer anyway. So there you go. That's probably going to just about do it for Rock Labs, folks. Thanks for sticking through all of this with me. I think next week we'll look at some Regents questions, think about kind of a quote-unquote test. But another week down. Hope you guys are doing well. We'll see you soon, hopefully.